As promised, it's Shoutout Week. 1 out of 7, here we go. The first one we have is Mr. Beat. This one might be the most popular of the ones that I'm going to give the shout out to, but still underrated nonetheless. Who is Mr. Beat? Mr. Beat is a history teacher originally from Kansas who has decided to take up a hobby of making YouTube videos about history. What kind of history? All kind of history. Mostly US history, though. He has a lot of series, one that he just started with comparing two different states. Currently, the only one at this time that's out is Utah and Nevada. He's also got one called Supreme Court Briefs, where he goes over Supreme Court cases in a very interesting way. He's also got songs about presidents and other various things. He talks about topics like the Whig Party or the Know-Nothing Party or Abraham Lincoln's assassination, or my personal favorite, presidential elections in American history. So as you can tell, he's got a wide variety of content on his channel, and I very much appreciate that. Especially me being a history fanatic, but that aside, the channel itself just has so much variety and so much to offer, whether it be state geography, legal procedures, presidential elections, or just overall general history. Let's go over these. The state one's a little too early to talk about, but then there's Supreme Court Briefs and Presidential Elections in American History. And yes, that actually is the opening. These two are very, very well done. I specifically like the presidential elections in American history because, well, that's just kind of my, that's kind of my thing. That's what I like going over the most. These videos are about 6 minutes and he gets right to the point with no extra fluff and actually no bias. The only little bit of bias he's got, which is a very, very small nitpick, is that he's very clearly against the Electoral College, but we can just agree to disagree on that, but that doesn't change the fact that he's clearly worked hard on these, and it shows. They're very enjoyable and very informative. Just about everything in the videos are correct. The only thing that I can say that I found that was incorrect was in his 1964 one where he said that this was the first time that Maine voted Democratic when it had several times. But since the Civil War, I don't think it's voted Democrat, so I think that's what he meant. But he was right that Vermont, that was the first time it ever voted Democrat, which, looking at it now, that's kind of funny. And obviously, this guy has his own political opinions, but aside from the Electoral College thing, I don't know what they are. I can't really tell. Well, I do know, because I've seen some of his live stream stuff, but judging by these videos, I can't, because they're very informative, and they definitely take a very strong side of being no sides, which is what I think we need to see more in history stuff, because especially these days, everything has to be either on the left or on the right. This guy is very clearly just, you know what? I don't care what my stuff is right now, I need to just portray the facts. And that's the same in the Supreme Court Briefs thing, too. While there are some rulings I bet he agrees with and doesn't, I don't know what they are. And that's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing, because he's a very good teacher. Gee, I wonder why he's a good teacher. It's not like he's actually a teacher or something. Oh, wait. Like the Presidential Elections in American History series, he's very to the point on these, and he makes sure that he gets all the facts out as quickly as he can, but also as thoroughly as he can to make sure that the audience can understand what they're talking about. And that's good too, the way that he explains it so simply, is because Supreme Court is definitely not something that is very easy to summarize, so yeah, good on him. We've also got his president songs, because, Mr. Beat, I think that might have to do with something about music, which, yes, he does do songs about presidents, and they're pretty darn good. We also have his general story time with Mr. Beat, which he talks about things, again, like the Know-Nothing Party or Prohibition and all that stuff. And again, very to the point, and make sure he gets out all the information he can in a lesser time. Now, these ones tend to be a bit longer than the other series, but only because he goes over a lot more specifics, I'd say, because, well, this is a very in-depth thing. He goes into as much detail as he can on the subject, to make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're talking about, so that they don't have to just wander around blindly talking about facts they don't know about. It's educational, but it's fun. He throws in a few bit of jokes here and there, and he's just a generally fun person, it seems, and he's got a pretty cool voice. The videos are a little bit minimalistic in the editing, but you know what? You don't need fancy editing and all that stuff to make a good video. Trust me, I should know. But don't get me wrong. They're well put together. It's just that they don't have all that sparkle and flair, but you don't need that. What he's got works very well and it suits him perfectly. If you're a history fan, these are the kind of videos you can easily just binge watch. I mean, they're brief and they're informative and they just kind of leave you wanting more in the best way. You want to learn more about the kind of stuff related to it. Check him out. I definitely recommend it. Even if you're not really that into history or geography, I definitely recommend checking him out at least a little bit because he's got a lot to offer aside from just talking about that. There's just the personality or the humor or the writing or just the fact that you actually get to learn something. So for all these reasons, I give Mr. Beat the first shout out in this shout out week. Good going, Mr. Beat, and I'm looking forward to see what you got in the future. I really am. Alright, so that'll do it for this one. See you guys in the next one.
Good night, everybody.